Hello and welcome back to the Bookyard. I'm Sam.
And I'm Kai.
Welcome to season 2! Yes! I am so excited. You obviously as a listener haven't been here for the last 5 minutes, but we have been re-recording this introduction over and over again because we just keep like giggling,
we're so like jittery,
screaming.
Yes,
we're a little bit hyper about it.
I'm just over the moon. Like I'm just like, you know.
Welcome to season 2.
Like we're genuinely like, if you could see us right now, we're shaking.
It's crazy.
And we
I'm
keep like
physically holding myself back from like attacking the desk because I know it'll make sounds on our recording equipment.
Like, you know, people get like so aggressive about something being cute, they want to bite it or like eat it. That's where I'm at. Like, I want to eat this microphone.
Absolutely. Unrelated. I thought the microphone was my drink because we always get sodas before we record. I thought this microphone was my drink like probably 45 minutes ago. I just fully grabbed it and had my mouth like all the way open. It was crazy.
It was really cute.
You've been closer to my mouth than other things.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Anyway, welcome to season 2.
Starting out strong
since we last recorded?
Oh my gosh.
It was a long time ago.
It was like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, maybe a month.
Honestly, I've been pretty good. I just moved. I can't remember if I moved last time we recorded.
I don't know. I think you were getting ready to move. You moved. You've been doing tons of new work stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Work has been, I'm not going to lie to you, a nightmare. But I just moved. I'm making new friends. And
how's that been going?
You know, I have a new friend and it's been a little bit interesting. I don't want to get into the details too much. Rachel is interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But so that's been a little bit different. But in my church, I've actually been making a ton of new friends and that's been so nice. I've been in many different like congregations before with like different people. And this is the first time where I've ever been like, everybody is so nice and welcoming.
Okay, that's amazing though, because that makes a huge difference.
Totally. And I just really got a calling in my church that I'm actually really excited for.
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm part of like the ward missionary / welcoming committee. Oh, so we just like work on communication with everybody and getting everybody's records in and just being like a welcoming face and saying hi to everybody.
Oh, do you get to go like sit next to new people?
Sit next to new people, go to like visits to like people in our ward boundaries and like stand by the door and give out mints on Fast Sunday and get up at the end of church and be like, if anybody needs their records moved, come find me.
That's
like,
so cute.
It just is like the perfect calling for me.
That's so fun.
So I'm really excited. But anyway, what has been up with you?
Okay, so not a ton new. I bought a paddle board.
Oh my gosh, yeah, wait.
We'll go over it. It's fine. It's gonna be so fun. I'm super excited. I keep going up to the lake and just like looking longingly at people and who are on paddle boards and I'll be like, no,
I need one.
And M finally sat me down and he's like, Sam, I know we're like
poor,
but you can be poor
and happy
and have a paddle board.
Yep.
Because you're already up at the lake. You need some exposure to nature because it's the only thing that like keeps you well.
Yes.
So that's super fun. I'm also very excited because I have started planning this thing and you know about it because it's called Hobby Camp. And we're going to have you and me and my other friend and maybe other people, but I don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
We have to find dates.
All we know is that Kai and Sam are going to Hobby Camp.
It's going to be so fun. We're going to bring books. We're going to bring diamond art.
Mm-hmm.
I might do a paint by number because I really want to do a paint by number. I've been hit really hard with like targeted ads on social media recently.
So bad. Like, where's your necklace, by the way?
It's gone. Not really. It's upstairs.
Oh, okay.
That's because I put it on every morning.
Yeah, she's just been like victim to all of the ads on Instagram recently.
Have you ever been victim to targeted ads, but that are pretty accurate to who you are as a person? And then you just make poor decisions sometimes. I don't do that frequently, but like every once in a while I'll be like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Guess what I bought?
And it's always like the craziest thing.
It's the craziest thing. So I'm just going to be super open about it here. I think like right after we recorded our last episode, I was hit really hard with this targeted ad. And it was like this romantic like Morse code necklace, which those ads are always so dumb because it's always like a beautiful necklace that has a Morse code on it and it'll be like, this says Travis. And you're like, what the Who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
it's supposed to be like boyfriends' names or like anniversaries or like that kind of thing.
Something crazy. And it pops up right as I'm like, I don't know, right about like, I don't know, 10 p.m. Right as I'm getting into the like,
well, and
delusional part
her
of the
husband
day.
Was at work and like her mom was up visiting family. So like Sam had been by herself for way too long at this point.
Yeah, it was just like super alone. Super like having fun on social media. I had fallen into like a political hole, so I was just like, whatever. And then this ad comes up and I was like, I know exactly what I should do. So go to the website. I custom order a Morse code necklace that says fuck Trump.
It was so crazy. She
bought
called me and we laughed. I'm not even kidding you, for half an hour on FaceTime because I was like, why did you order that?
I don't even know. It was like pretty expensive because it's supposed to be this like special, like beautiful moment. And I was like, oh my gosh. But it has brought me so much joy because I wear it all the time to work.
And it's just been so worth it for you.
It's been so worth it to me. Like people walk around and they'll just be like, oh, how's everything going? And I'm always like, it's so stupid, but like it's fine. Anyway, moving on from that because that was full like 6 minutes of just talking about crazy
Well, they
stuff.
haven't seen us in ages. We just needed to catch up.
I know, we miss you guys.
We really do.
Anyway, I wanted to just jump in here really fast before we launch into this episode. I know we wanted to kind of give everybody a little status update on our podcast. We're gonna be stats girlies here for a minute.
Stat girly.
Woohoo! So we started this podcast as a way for us to get to talk about the books that we read and share our thoughts, and it has genuinely been so fun.
So fun.
We're so proud of how far it's come, because it's such a nice place to come and express our thoughts and get to hang out with each other.
Yes.
And we really never were like, oh my gosh, this is going to be our livelihood. But we have received so much like more support than we were expecting. And we're so excited about it. And looking back at season 1, which I've had a little bit of a chance to do while we're prepping for season 2.
Yeah.
We've been so surprised, and like we'll text each other and be like, did you see this?
Yeah.
Just by how many people have listened to our book thoughts.
Yes. Yeah. We launched this podcast on January 1st of this year when we were so excited. And I feel like it's crazy that it's only been 6 months because this whole podcast has been in the works for so much longer than that.
Yeah.
That like we've been prepping to do this for so long, but during that time that we've been doing this, we have almost exactly 1,000 downloads of our episodes.
Which I know in podcast terms that really doesn't sound like a lot, but can you imagine, even if half of those people were different, like can you imagine 500 different people listen to me talk about a random like book that I read?
No, especially where like first season, like we are on social media, but like we're still kind of building our social media presence, like, and we have some friends, but we don't have 1,000 friends.
No. No.
We have maybe like 5.
Like, 3, 7. Who knows?
So we have just been so overwhelmed with the amount of support that we've received.
Yeah. Our podcast has been listened to in over 6 countries. I didn't count all of them because some of them I assumed were like, oh, this may be like a little bit spammy, or I know bots download like some podcasts in different places, but 6 that I know of, because I know that we have a few people who've listened in Peru.
Yes. Hey.
M's family. Ireland. If Megan still listens to us. Hey. Little cutie. And just like so many people, honestly, around the world. That's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
I just am so excited about it. It makes season 2 just like such a world of possibilities.
Absolutely. Never in our wildest dreams did we think that even 10 people would be interested in what we have to say, but we have so many people in like our close circle that are like, I loved this, or we have people who would text us be like, that was so funny that you guys said this.
Yes, and it's saying something really, and I hadn't thought about it a ton more before this week, but I was so embarrassed at the beginning that I just didn't ever tell anybody anything about it.
Yeah.
So like I'm just barely to the point where someone will be like, hey, like this happened at work this last week where people were like, hey, you guys read a lot, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, oh yeah, we read to the point that like we have a podcast about it. Like we're not just like casual fun.
We are casual fun, but like
fun.
it adds to it.
Absolutely.
And we all the time are messaging each other about different ideas. So if you guys keep listening, we are just going to keep delivering because we have so much to offer.
And we have so many fun ideas, like more than we could possibly fit into this season. Every day I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to do this.
Yes.
And it will be so fun. So I'm so excited that you're all here.
Yeah. So sorry, that was kind of a long intro, but we actually wanted to talk about something that we're pretty excited for.
Woohoo! Yes, we are getting into this episode today. We have been so excited to talk about this for over a year. Like, I think when we first started talking about making a podcast, we were like, and we could do a Dune episode.
It's been like the epicenter of everything we've wanted to do.
Yes, we love Dune. We have so many thoughts and so many things to talk about with this franchise. We're going to deep dive into Dune today. Why is it such a huge deal? Mm-hmm. What does it even mean?
Yep.
And why would we die defending the series?
Yes. I do have to start talking a little bit about how I was introduced to Dune, though, because before I had met Sam at our job, she had just barely finished reading through some of the Dune books again. And then we started reading like ACOTAR and more romantic-y thing. You guys know our origin story of how we started talking about books. But I knew that she had read Dune, but we just really didn't talk about it.
Like ever.
And our work wanted to do this book club thing where we all bought a book and then wrapped it because it was around Christmas time. And then we were going to swap books and get them. And Sam was kind of like, I think I might do Dune. But Sam was always so weird about talking about Dune. Which now that I'm in it, I get it. Because it's just kind of like a defensive thing. Like, do you really care? Do you really want to talk about this? Because it's just so close to Sam's heart that she was kind of like, So then we did the whole book club thing, and I got Sam's book, which, first of all, she accidentally brought the one that she'd gotten in Spanish.
I have a thing for Dune, so I buy it in every language.
And I opened it, and she's like, I'm so glad this was you, because this is so embarrassing. Because it was, like, in Spanish. So then I was like, okay, like, I'll read it. And I know that you were kind of hesitant about me reading it.
I kept giving you, like, just a heads up this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I have this thing where I love Dune. It's one of my all-time favorites, and I definitely don't introduce people to it lightly because I don't know that it's for everyone. Like, I know that's super dumb and it sounds really like elitist, and I'm not talking about like you have to be smart to understand Dune. I think you just need to be like someone who's like okay with some weird stuff. And that's okay. Like, I definitely at the beginning of like meeting Kai, I was like, I just don't know. I like wanted to kind of vet her before I got into like how much I love Dune.
Well, and to be fair, even like the world building in ACOTAR, I was confused for a minute. So I get that you were screening because damn.
No, I do it every time. Anytime someone's like, I want to read Dune, I'm always like,
well, and it's a little bit tricky
I don't know why.
Because they've come out with these movies for Dune with like Timothée Chalamet
so popular.
And Zendaya. So people are like, oh my gosh, yes. And then they read the book and they're kind of like, oh, because like especially part 2, Chef's Kiss.
Yeah,
I love those movies. Not the same as the books. I can't put them in the same category, but really great. And so it's brought so much more attention to Dune.
Yeah. Let me just tell you, okay, so my little Dune origin story, because it's completely different, right? Mm-hmm. I was introduced to Dune, I think, basically immediately upon arrival from the hospital when I was born. My parents were obsessed with the 1984 David Lynch version of the movie. It's crazy. So if you haven't seen it, like, you should go see it because it's like nuts. Like, it's straight up crazy. We watched it, I think, almost every single month. Like when I was growing up, we would like put it on when we were cleaning. My dad would like put it on in the like evening, and we would just like have it in the background. And it was honestly kind of like a fever dream. Like, I don't remember a ton about my childhood, but I can like remember like full scenes. At some point, like, Paul gets these insane blue eyes, and in the 1984 version, they're like not subtle. Like, they're like glowing orbs, and I was like enthralled by them. Right? Yeah. And then I also like just straight up loved Aaliyah in the book, by the way. Crazy. But Aaliyah in the 1984 movie, so much more like in line with what happens in the book. She's just like straight up crazy.
Unhinged.
And just like full on murders people, which is so her.
Yes, but she's
a girl.
She's a baby.
She's literally 2 years old. So like in the movie, it was just like this bald 2-year-old stabs somebody. And I was just like, I remember it. I loved it. I grew up on it.
Yeah.
And then when I was like 20, I read Dune for the first time. And I had been meaning to for a while, but it was definitely one of those books that like my dad and brother talked about all the time. And like, I was kind of just, I don't know if you've ever like had the experience where like, a boy keeps recommending books to you and you're like, is it that deep or have you just not read books?
It's just such a boy book. Like, yeah. I love it, but it's definitely boy.
For sure. And that's totally fine. So I was a little bit hesitant, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go for it. So I was just like shocked by how much Frank Herbert managed to pack into one book. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until later that I went back and read like Messiah. And I haven't made it through all of the original like 6.
Yeah.
So I haven't made it to Heretics or Chapter House. So please don't come for me about some of the like further out there things that happen.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm not there yet. But Dune is one of those things there. When I read a book of Dune, I have to go back and read Dune and then read from Dune to the point that I'm at. So I never come back and I'm like, okay, it's time to read Heretics, and I can just start with Heretics. I'm always like, okay, now I have to go back and read Dune and then Dune Messiah.
Yeah,
because it just like requires so much.
It requires a little dipping of the toe in the pool first.
Absolutely.
I get it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the basic premise of Dune. Like I was talking about a little bit before, the recent like movies have really brought it up. But let's talk a little bit more here about the book. I'm going to attempt to be Blurb Girl.
Blurb Girl!
Starting out season 2 strong. Sam already went through and explained the words to me, and even like the easy words.
The funniest part is you've read so many of these books and you absolutely know the words. You just get so worried about being Blurb Girl that you're just like, wait, how do I say Dune?
Even like the stupidest words, I'm like, wait, how do I say that?
How do I say it?
So
you've got this.
I'm just a little amped up. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's okay. I'm there with you.
Okay, here we go. Blurb Girl. This is from Goodreads. Set on the desert. Okay, retry. Set on the desert planet Arrakis, Dune is the story of the boy Paul Atreides, heir to the noble family tasked with ruling the inhospitable world where the only value is the spice melange, a drug capable of extending life and enhancing consciousness. Coveted across the known universe, melange is a price worth killing for. When House Atreides is betrayed, the destruction of Paul's family will set the boy on a journey toward a destiny greater than he could have ever imagined. As he evolves into the mysterious man known as Muad'Dib, he will bring to fruition humankind's most ancient and unattainable dream.
Yes.
Okay, that was a pretty good dry run of Blurb Girl because I'm going to work on it this season.
You've got this. This was your goal and you've been better. Remember that time we did like 30 takes?
That was only 4 takes.
That was awesome.
So,
way to be, girl.
Okay, well, anyway, my thoughts about the blurb. Let's go into that.
Yes.
I think that it gets a good little, it's like a pinky toe dip. There is so much more to it, but like that gives you at least a little idea of like the big, like the main picture. Yeah. There are so many smaller pictures that lead up to the big picture, but like that's like the best it was going to be, I think.
Absolutely. I definitely think that this blurb sets people up for like a great read. Like it sounds like a book I want to read, right?
For sure.
But I just don't think that any blurb could fully capture like the universe that Herbert sets up. Like I just want to make sure like you understand the full premise and not just the movie, because I think so many people like understand the movies and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Before we like jump into more of our thoughts. So I wrote, and by a blurb, I mean like a big old blurb.
It's like 2 pages long.
It's like 2 pages long. So I'm just going to run through this really fast with you and just go over, because Kai knows this back and forth. Like,
yeah, I got this.
I want to make sure you as like our listeners know what Dune's about before we jump into like fun thoughts and everything. First, I want to let everybody know Paul's family structure and the whole system that's set up here is like thousands and thousands of years in the making. Yeah. Right? The Atreides and Paul's father, Leto, he's a really good man. He holds himself and those around him to like very high moral standards. He really teaches Paul right from wrong.
Yeah. He's almost like loyal to a fault and like almost
Absolutely.
a good man to a fault.
Absolutely. And we get a lot of commentary about that in Dune, right? I mean, even in the movies, you see Leto is almost immediately murdered because he believes that people act according to certain codes. But Dune specifically shows you that people don't.
Yeah.
So Paul's mother, Jessica, never gets married to Leto for a variety of reasons that we won't really get into in this episode, but basically she's his concubine. She's not like a recognized wife or anything of the Duke, but once the Atreides arrive to Arrakis, they're given this stewardship of Arrakis as almost like a reward from the Padishah Emperor, and
but it's more as like a setup. It's presented as a prize and like, you guys are gonna work on this planet and you're gonna be rich, but it's to make the House of Atreides fall.
Absolutely. And it's definitely a setup, but Leto doesn't really, we can't tell if he doesn't really believe it, because I don't know that he really is that naive or if he just thinks that he can defend it. Yeah. So they arrive on Arrakis, and Leto, in true Leto fashion, tries to like reach out and form alliances with the native people of the planet, who are called the Fremen. He frequently refers to them as like desert power. Yeah. So like there's something valuable that the Atreides can play to their advantage. The Harkonnens, who lived on Arrakis before them, who are the historical enemies of House Atreides, were in constant conflict with the Fremen, and they killed a lot of them constantly. Like they were trying to eradicate the native people of this planet, which, you know, that's how you know they're bad guys.
Right. Well, and to give a little more context on that, the native people to the planet weren't wanting to sell the spice because it was so pure and to the planet that's why they were in conflict. Is like, they were like, no, the spice is ours. It's native to the planet. Like, it shouldn't be used. So that's kind of where the conflict comes from, of the Fremen versus the people who keep coming to the planet to sell their resource.
Well, yeah, and they're specifically being taken advantage of. I mean, I don't know, they could have probably have tried, like, I don't know, buying it or crazy stuff. Like, like they could have tried other tactics, but they really like just
steal it.
They were like, cool, yeah, we can do whatever we want. We're part of the Empire. So anyway, shortly after they arrive, the Atreides are betrayed by their Sook doctor. Again, we're not going to dive deep into like the complexities of like who the Sook doctors are or whatever, but their doctor is supposed to be unable to betray them. Yeah. They basically go through this like this training and this conditioning that makes them loyal. So they're unable to like betray people, but they find a way around it. The Harkonnen specifically find a way around his conditioning, and the Harkonnens are the ones who've done this. So the Harkonnens have coerced Dr. Yue to basically eradicate the Atreides. So he betrays them and brings Leto to the Baron Harkonnen, who's our main, like, you know, representation of evil. Yep. But he does find a way to let Paul and Jessica escape into the desert. So he brings Leto to the Baron, and Leto dies in this like big showdown, and it's crazy. Super fun. But Paul and Jessica escape to the desert. Long story short, Paul and Jessica make it to the Fremen. The spice on Arrakis is pretty much like awakening Paul's prescience. So he has always been like a very talented, very intelligent young man. And he's 15. Like this is not like an adult. But he is like an intelligent young man. He's very advanced. But the spice on the planet, because it's in the air, it's everywhere around him, it kicks this into overtime. Yeah. Paul, using this prescience in the desert, like before they even get to the Fremen, realizes and sees that Jessica is the Baron Harkonnen's daughter, making him both Atreides and Harkonnen, which is a theme that comes back and forth like throughout the series and everything. But he's also getting the crazy feeling that he may be the Messiah, which, you know, teenagers these days.
Boy teenager. I'm the chosen one.
It's so 15-year-old boy, right?
Totally.
He's like, Am I the Messiah?
Am I special?
Am I the savior of the universe? This is crazy. But he's getting this like terrible feeling. And it's not like a, yay, I'm the Messiah. It's like, oh my gosh, a bunch of people are going to die.
Yes, yeah.
So he arrives to the Fremen. The Fremen call Arrakis Dune. That is the name of the planet. Right. We refer to Arrakis as Arrakis, like, that's what the planet is known as, like, in the Empire. But it's Dune to the native people, the Fremen. So it's where the name of the book comes from. Yay! The Fremen have some pretty extreme religious beliefs, some of which are like the hope that Dune can someday be turned into like a green, water-rich world instead of the desert.
Right.
Some of their other beliefs that they have come directly from the Bene Gesserit. Mm-hmm. So we didn't go over the Bene Gesserit a ton, but the Bene Gesserit are this religious cult of women.
Yes.
Jessica is a Bene Gesserit, and they frequently refer to these women as witches in the book.
Right.
Because there's a lot of history there.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bene Gesserit have spent thousands of years before Dune going to planets in the universe and instilling their religious beliefs, knowing that at some time they could come in helpful. Like they could come in handy for people.
Right.
Specifically of their own religion. So when you go to a new planet and you're colonizing it, it's very, very tempting for religious people to come in and instill their beliefs, right? Mm-hmm. If I teach someone that there is a Messiah coming and he looks a certain way, when I send someone to that planet in the future
and they look
that way and they have certain characteristics, people are going to believe that that could be a Messiah.
Yes. Right.
So they've instilled a lot of these beliefs. This gives Paul a huge advantage because at this point in the book, you're really kind of like, is he the Messiah or is he just like feeling like that? Does he match a ton of their things? Mm-hmm. Is he part of the like Bene Gesserit's plan? But it gives Paul a huge advantage when trying to win over the Fremen because they already believe that they're waiting for what they call the Kwisatz Haderach, which is their Messiah, right?
Right. Well, and there's been so much of like conditioning on Lady Jessica's end of creating Paul to be this thing. We kind of see like later she's like, no, I kind of knew. And like she's like building him up to be this. So he already has those characteristics that they're looking for because she's instilled them in him. And through her religious beliefs, she's been like, ooh, we need you to be like this. Even though he like still might have some of those characteristics, a lot of it had to do with Lady Jessica.
Well, that, and we do see that the Bene Gesserits did have Paul as a significant portion of their plan. Mm-hmm. He wasn't supposed to exist in the way that he did.
Right.
So Jessica was sent to Leto as his concubine, and she was supposed to have a daughter who the Bene Gesserit were going to take away from the planet. And they were going to basically breed her with one of the Harkonnens' children. So Feyd-Rautha.
Right.
And then that child could have been the Kwisatz Haderach or the Messiah.
Right. Because it's all about bloodlines with the Bene Gesserit. They're wanting to create the perfect breed. And like that's kind of another part of their religion and key points about like a characteristic of them.
Well, and their Messiah should be someone that they can control. Mm-hmm. So when Jessica falls in love with Leto, she knows how much he wants a son, and she ends up having Paul because the Bene Gesserit, crazy, they can control what gender their children are. They can heal themselves from diseases and fix poisons and all that crazy stuff.
A lot of internal body work.
Yeah. So she has Paul for this like love of Leto, right? So he's not what the Bene Gesserit would consider the ideal candidate. Mm-hmm. But while among the Fremen, Paul learns their ways.
Yes.
And kind of thinks about how he can ensure the Atreides' survival. Mm-hmm. So he's a very much still Paul Atreides at this point, but he has this nagging sensation that he's something else as well. Mm-hmm. His mother ends up becoming a religious leader among the Fremen because she's part of this group. She drinks the water of life, which grants her access to all of her female ancestors' memories, which is very cool. It's one of the like awesome parts of the Bene Gesserit cult.
It's crazy, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. She can access all of her female ancestors' memories, so like they can give her advice or show her what happened in their lifetime, and it's super crazy.
Yeah,
but it also has some unintended and unforeseen consequences. Because surprise, Jessica is pregnant.
Womp womp.
So before her husband was like
brutally
betrayed and murdered, she had gotten pregnant and was going to have a daughter, and that daughter's name is Aaliyah. But this unforeseen consequence is that it also grants the same Bene Gesserit abilities to her unborn daughter Aaliyah, who from the womb has the wisdom of like thousands of years of women inside her brain.
She's extremely intelligent.
Like it's so full crazy, but so cool. And people throughout the book are like, this girl is an abomination because she comes out of the womb as like I don't know, like thousands of years of wisdom in her. And so she's just like saying crazy stuff.
She comes out and she's like, I need a drink of water. I'm thirsty. Like as like a newborn.
So yes, super like unintended consequences there, but they did what they had to survive, basically. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Paul among the Fremen meets Chani, the girl he's been having visions of since before he came to Dune. Mm-hmm. They, as teenagers, because this was written in the 60s.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
They have a son and they name him Leto after his dad.
Aww.
So Aaliyah is also born. This doesn't happen in the movies, so it's completely different here. Aaliyah isn't like born in part 2 or anything, but she's like a huge deal in the book. Like Aaliyah is full on born and is crazy as an infant.
Well, and to give like there's a lot of time that comes through. Like in the movies, it's like super quick all throughout the months, but between part 1 and part 2 in the book, there's years.
Absolutely. But after Dune and before like Messiah, like 12 years or something like that passes. Yeah. It's crazy. So like this is happening over a long period of time. Mm-hmm. But in the book, Aaliyah is born. Mm-hmm. Paul wants to get more clarity about the future because he's widely considered the Messiah at this point. Mm-hmm. Like everyone of the Fremen is just like, yes, this is him. This is it.
Yep.
And he's worried that he, again, is having this nagging suspicion that he's going to cause a religious war, a jihad, that will span across the entire universe and will result in the death of like billions of people. Mm-hmm. So he, knowing the prophecies that the Bene Gesserit have like instilled in people, and they also believe, he also takes the water of life, which has killed every other like man who's tried it. Something about chromosomes, crazy.
The science,
It's cool. So he is basically like dead. He's in this coma for like 3 weeks, I think is what it is. And again, in the movie, it seems like
2 seconds,
right?
Yeah.
And Chani doesn't have to like cry on him. Like no one's doing any like work here. Paul is in a coma.
Right, because they're all waiting because he's not dead, and this is part of the prophecy. So they're just like, okay, we'll wait.
They're kind of waiting, and people like crowd around him. But his gifts expand considerably after he almost dies, and he can see a lot more clearly. But he still has to determine like which path to take all the time. So his prescience has just like fully expanded. Mm-hmm. Towards the end of the book, because we're not going to go into everything that happens, the Emperor's troops arrive on Dune, and they capture Aaliyah. They also kill Paul and Chani's son. So this doesn't sad. Even like picture in the movie. They obviously are like teenagers in the movie, so they're not like having a kid.
Yeah.
But like Paul and Chani have a son, and he's brutally murdered.
It's so sad.
Like he is killed. Aaliyah, the 2-year-old, is the one who kills the Baron Harkonnen, and she does that with a poison needle. And she specifically like talks to him and is like, "Hey, Grandpa." Okay, 1984 Dune has the creepiest part. And she's just like, "Hello, grandfather." And then she just like brutally murders him, but she's like a baby.
Which was so sad they didn't do that in the movie because that's like the coolest part.
It would have been so much better than like little Timmy doing it,
Timothy.
So Paul defeats Feyd-Rautha in a duel and basically wins the throne. And the Emperor's daughters, like Irulan is her name, the Emperor's daughter, but she's one of his like many children.
Yeah.
He wins her hand in marriage. Mm-hmm. The book ends with Paul knowing that he's like restored House Atreides. Mm-hmm. He's now the emperor of the known universe. Mm-hmm. He's in control of all the spice melange. Mm-hmm. But he also is witnessing intense fanaticism from the Fremen and the people around him.
Yep.
And the implications of him being considered the Messiah. Yep. He's also extremely concerned because he knows that his actions have and will continue to lead to a jihad that will murder billions of people.
Yes.
So that's how the book ends. What?
So crazy. So much stuff to cover. I don't like... The problem is me and Sam could talk about this for literally hours.
We have. Frequently.
So we just want to cover a couple of small specific points. First of all, with that ending, let's talk about a little quote. Okay, so this quote is towards the end of the book, but it says, "You cannot avoid the interplay of politics within an Orthodox religion. This power struggle permeates the training, educating, and disciplining of an Orthodox community. Because of this pressure, the leaders of such community inevitably must face the ultimate internal question: to succumb to complete opportunism as a price of maintaining their rule, or risk sacrificing themselves for the sake of the Orthodox ethic." Which, first of all, that just goes to show that the blurb just gets in my head because that was some intense words in a quote. Absolutely. And that was easy peasy.
Absolutely.
First try.
We should call it Quote Girl, and then you wouldn't even be scared.
Quote Girl. So anyway, that kind of like related and was one of the highlights for me while reading this book, because it's just, I love so much the power of religion and what they talk about in that in Dune, in like the entire Dune universe.
It is absolutely like a central theme.
Because me and Sam love talking about religion, and like Sam is more knowledgeable about it, but religion is such an interesting thing to me, and like the power of it. So that quote specifically is just like, ooh, it just gives me like little chillies, you know?
Absolutely. Well, I think it also relates like very closely to the reason that Frank Herbert wrote Dune.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to just dive in here with a quick quote from Frank Herbert, basically telling you why he wrote Dune, right?
Okay.
So there are a lot of people who get that the central point of Dune sometimes, well, not the central point, but a very poignant point of Dune is like a warning against charismatic leaders, right?
Yep.
And Frank himself said, I had this theory that superheroes were disastrous for humans, that even if you postulated an infallible hero, the things this hero set in motion fell eventually into the hands of fallible mortals. What a better way to destroy a civilization, society, or a race than to set people into the wild oscillations which follow their turning over their critical judgment and decision-making faculties to a superhero.
Frank,
okay, first of all, let's just understand this like in an American cultural context.
Yes.
Here. This was written, I believe it was published in 1965 originally, which actually was right as like Stan Lee and Marvel and everything were like starting their full things. Like we go back full into like the 50s with like, you know, I have all these like old Life magazines and everything, and they start talking a lot about superheroes at this point in American culture. And at this point, Frank Herbert is observing and also comes up with this theory that superheroes would be absolutely disastrous, that humanity cannot turn over their critical judgment and decision making to other people, or else we are led into fanaticism, which is incredible in and of itself.
Absolutely.
But it's the premise of Dune. So as I think about this quote all the time, because it's so him.
Yep.
And it's like everything that Dune represents for me. But obviously I go on the Dune Reddit forum because that's what we do here. And it is a harsh place in there. Let me just tell you, like, I am not a huge fan of some of the people in there, but there was this one thing that I read, and it was specifically about charismatic leaders in Dune. The man, the guy who wrote this, I'm assuming, because it says the man's an arse is his name. So shout out to you, buddy.
Shout out, mates. Remember them?
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
He wrote about a year ago, and I've literally been thinking about this for a year because I looked this up like a year ago and wrote it down somewhere and had to go back. He says, the warning about charismatic leaders is meant to be structural, not because they might be bad. The fact that Paul is almost comedically powerful, he's emperor of the known universe, worshipped as a god, crazy powerful army, he can see the future, and yet he still can't prevent the jihad that he wants to prevent, because the jihad is driven by the existence of the Messiah and not the wishes of the Messiah, is the whole point. Otherwise, the message is good messiahs are good and bad messiahs are bad, which would be a pretty trite and crap point to make. And it's not Frank's point.
I'm not kidding you. I just got full body chills. Did you see me?
It honestly, the man's an arse. You're a genius, because it's exactly Frank's point.
Yes,
that we talk about the existence of the Messiah driving fanaticism, and not what the actual Messiah thinks or cares about or wants.
Right,
and you can see it in every religion that's ever existed. And you can see it so clearly in Dune that Paul's desires were never for a jihad to happen. But Paul's existence as a Messiah to others drives it. And it's almost inevitable.
Right.
Like giving our fanaticism to another figure will always result in the destruction of humanity.
Well, and we were kind of talking about this before the episode, because we were talking about how Paul could have been anyone. Because Paul inherently as a person isn't a bad person. He's super powerful. I mean, at least in this book, he's not like a terrible person. But Paul could have been anyone, and this still would have been the case. Mm-hmm. That's just the truth of it. Like, he couldn't have prevented it. Didn't matter who he was. We could have inserted anybody in his position, and this is how it would have been. So it has nothing to do with his characteristics or desires. He could have been anyone, and this is still what the result is.
Well, and that's why I think that Dune fans, more than any other, like, fan group that I've come across, are extremely passionate about their opinions on Frank Herbert's universe. Specifically because Frank makes a point about humanity and not about his characters, right? Like you just said, I mean, we could plug any 15-year-old boy into this equation, right?
Yep.
And Paul is particularly noble. Like, he's a good kid.
Yeah.
But we're making a point about humanity and fascism and fanaticism and religion and everything that humans do over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter that this is 10,000 years in the future, or, you know, it could pass hundreds of thousands of years. And Frank is making a point about humanity and not about, like, Paul.
Right. It's not person specific. It's not like, oh, this guy was out for vengeance. It was, this is what the system was set up like.
Right. Which is why there is a very valid critique among people who read Frank Herbert's work and say, like, well, these characters really, like, they're not in depth at all. I don't relate to them. I don't do this. It's because they're not the main point.
That's not, the point isn't to relate to the characters and grow love for them, be like, I see myself in this character, which I think a lot of authors do, because it draws you in and you're interested and you're involved emotionally because you're like, ooh, I see a little bit of myself in this person. Mm-hmm. But they're all just kind of cardboard boxes because that's not the point.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And I hope you loved that, like, Frank Herbert quote, because that is the main, like, essence of Dune for me.
Yeah. So one little thing that I wanted to try and talk about just for a second was Chani. We see in the movies, freaking Zendaya, she's such a baddie.
She's so cute.
She's so cute. But we see her in the movie being this, like, strong woman who's like, I am not letting you do this to me. And she is just so much more outspoken about her opinions of Paul and who he is as a messiah.
Well, and she specifically like leads a group of young people to be like, this guy isn't a messiah.
like, oh, she's just so opposing because you kind of need that in the movie. But in the book, she's so much more of a supportive character, kind of following what we were saying before. She could have been anyone because it's not really about her or her opinion. This is what the situation is. So I think that it's really interesting that they had to change her character to make it fit more in today's modern, like, movie roles and kind of how to get you interested, rather than it being like, this is who she was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that brings into perspective a few of the changes that they made in the movie, because they do that with a few people, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they make them more in-depth characters because you can't show people, like, a 3-hour-long movie where they don't care about the characters. So they have to have some kind of, you know, like, principles. I remember, and this is obviously so classic, but my dad, when they were, like, releasing the movie, right? Mm-hmm. They make Liet Kynes in this book a woman. Mm-hmm. And this is, in the book, he's not a woman. He's the, like, ecologist, and he's actually Chani's dad.
Right.
In the book. But in the movie, she's a woman. And my dad was so offended by it because classic, you know?
Yes.
Like, boy sci-fi fan where they're like, you changed them. you just had to make woman? You just had to make it woke. And you're like, okay, girl.
Yeah.
It was a supporting role. Yep. And it's very important in the book, the role that's played, but it doesn't really make a huge difference in the movie because the point that's made in the movie isn't the full point of Herbert's stuff.
Right.
They have to add in some characters that are motivating, which the director has come back and said, like, hey, we'll go as far as Dune Messiah, but I don't think we can go further.
Yeah, which I think is fair.
It's fair because after Messiah, you kind of, like, lose the relatability, right? Like, you can't, I don't know. So there's a lot of stuff that had to change, I think, for the movie, but I'm glad that it has brought people into it. Mm-hmm. But overall, the world of Frank Herbert and that he's created, I think, is so much more profound. And I hope that people, because of the movie, are led to his works because they really are genuinely deeply profound and also, like, at times funny and you know, and he's hard sometimes to like digest. Sometimes you have to like put it down and be like, okay.
Yep.
This is like too much for a second and it's fine. But there's a lot in his works that I hope people like get led to through it. Okay. To end this off, one of the other obvious quotes that we love from the book, and obviously it's in the movie because it's one of the most famous quotes from Dune and the universe itself, is what's called the Litany Against Fear. And it is a Bene Gesserit almost meditation tactic. It's like a way that they prevent like themselves from feeling fear.
Yeah.
Right, in their body, because they really are extremely talented and well-trained women, like both militarily and religiously. But this litany against fear is, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Which, amazing.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry. Can we add that to our religion? Like, it's just good. Like,
yeah.
And it comes at such a fun time because Frank obviously points out the contradictions and the hypocrisies of religion, and specifically goes as far as to implicate the Bene Gesserit of like not even believing really what they've like instilled in other cultures.
Right.
But their litany against fear and their other like principles aren't inherently bad. In fact, I know a lot of people who got really into Dune after the movies, and they've come and said, I love the litany against fear. It calms me down. I can use it as an actual meditation tactic. Like it's awesome.
Right.
So like, I just think that it's so interesting that we can take these criticisms, but also bring out things that are super relevant to our lives. And I think that's one of the very like magical parts of Dune.
Yes. There are just so many magical parts about Dune.
So we're going to kind of end it there because we could talk about Dune genuinely for like hours and hours. We can do more episodes in the future if you want to get further into like Messiah or into the other Frank Herbert books. We can definitely do that. And we haven't even touched on what is basically the Dune expanded universe, which we had huge conversations about this before this episode came out.
Yeah.
We aren't going to talk about them here for a moment. And we can come back if you're interested in like thoughts about the expanded universe, because what happened is Frank wrote 6 books, and then currently actually his son Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, who touched the Star Wars universe in a way that people are very sensitive about, they have come back and they have filled in some gaps. So there are so many people who don't like accept them as part of the universe. Yeah, but we're not really going to go into it right now, but we would love to have more conversations about it because we have absolutely read them.
And we love them.
So not going to touch it right now. If you're interested in the expanded universe, let us know and we would love to come back and we can have full episodes about it. We can also come back and talk about what happens after Dune, because so much happens after Dune and it gets crazy as shit. Like absolutely nuts ball crazy, but it somehow doesn't lose a ton of the message, which is fun.
Incredible.
Anyway.
Okay, so next episode, we're going to be talking about this book that's taken TikTok, social media, everything by storm. It's called Silver Elite by Danny Francis. And there's so much controversy about it.
It's controversial.
There's so many thoughts. We haven't really formed a theory yet because we're still in the midst of it, but we are so excited to introduce it and kind of talk about what we're thinking.
Because we have so many thoughts about it.
So many. You know that I love a romantasy. Sam will read a romantasy, but like we have a lot to say about it.
We have a lot to say.
So get excited for that. I know today's episode was a little bit heavier, but next week we're getting into some nitty gritty controversy.
Yay, a fun girl book.
Girl book.
And honestly, keep holding on to your butts because there's so much fun stuff coming.
Yes. If you like today's episode, you are in luck. We post every Monday, and if you want to get your fix throughout the week, you can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Bookyard Pod. See you guys.
Bye.